Hello, YouTube critic. Thank you for the raid. How you guys doing? How's your stream? It was good. Good, good, good. Good to hear. We love good stream. My Vinian's not too bad. Just started using it. But funny that you pop up, though. We have a very special stream today. Can't tell you what it is yet. Oh, and thank you, our lovely collaborator today on this wonderful stream. Chewy Wonky, thank you so much for that follow. We're going to be talking about spooky stuff today. Okay. Ooh, psyching myself up. I'm getting ready. Oh, also, this is my Halloween costume. I didn't really have much time to prep. I thought about doing like I think a JoJo cosplay. But I was like, no, let's just use what we got. A lot of stuff happened this month, which I gotta talk to you guys about eventually. Some guys that are already in my Discord server already know. Loving the outfit? Well, thank you, Lyoko. It was free on Booth. I was like, oh no, I need costume. Oh, hey, here's something. It was a good something. I know, I'm psyching myself up. It's been a while since we streamed. Gotta get back on that horse. There we go. So how's everybody doing? Good? We are getting started. Yep, there we go. All right. Hey, how you doing? Oh no! That's okay. Okie dokie. Hello. Of course. Just to let my chat know, all of our redeems are off for this stream. Just so you guys are aware. Also, my name is Yue-Rose. I do a lot of horror stuff, specifically like movies and art, just any macabre hobby that you can think of. I love macabre, dark, horror stuff. Um, I am a cis woman, and my pronouns are she and her, and I am demisexual, leaning a bit on the pansexual side. Yeah. Oh. I'm fair, honestly. Oh, I am. I'm ready. I'm a little shy. You can go first. Oh, oh my god, I did it again. Sorry. Sorry.
You're all good.
Okay.
Totally understand. All right.
I
Can you
got
hear me
my
over
brain's
here?
fried too today.
That is so valid. I'm like, let me do something that's gonna turn my brain off a little bit. Alrighty. How's it going? Are we looking good over there now? Can you guys hear me?
I think they can hear you. Oh, I should have asked this beforehand. Do you have like a PNG or something I can That,
Yeah, I should
yeah,
have
yeah.
my Fugi. Let me give you my Fugi link. Slay. Let me grab that for you real quick.
Okay.
So welcome in, friends. Hi. So I'll just repeat what I was saying previously, but we're gonna be playing a little game called Two Truths and a Lie. Let's see, which one shall I use today? I will be Cookie Chiwu today.
Ooh, cookie.
Let me get this. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little cookie. There we go. Cool. Oopsies. I almost linked that in the wrong chat. Oof. There we go. Um, so we're going to be playing Two Truths and a Lie as we talk about some queer horror and history. Not to bald. Why are you trying to bald me? I also turned off mine, so take that. I will refund your points though, Ice. Thank you for trying to bald me, menace.
No.
They're trying to bald me. They're trying to give me some no hair.
How rude.
How dare? How dare? So we're gonna be doing that. As we do that, two truths and a lie. Basically, we're gonna say three statements, two of which are the truth, one is a lie. So my three statements are: before becoming a VTuber, I was actually a drag queen.
Ooh.
For my second statement, I used to run an LGBTQIA plus club at my private Christian conservative university.
Okay.
And then for my last one, my very last one is that I own over 200 Squishmallows.
Okay, that's a flex. I love Squishmallows.
I was so obsessed.
They're so soft. If they weren't so soft and cuttable, we wouldn't have need to buy them.
Exactly. They're so good too. I love them so much. I love them so much. What do we think? What do we think? Censoring the truth is crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's gonna make it too easy.
I kind of want to think of you as a little rebel, so I'm gonna say the middle one.
The middle one is the lie.
Oh no, I was gonna say that was the truth. Oh no, wait.
Let's see.
Okay, cogs are working. Kinda. They're a little rickety. Maybe the lie would be maybe I don't know. I want to think of you as the rebel, but because the 200 squishmallows are a little too truthful, I think. Also, if that is true, that is a wicked flex. Um, I don't know. Maybe the first one's the lie. Yeah, I'm gonna still think of you as a little rebel. So the first one's the lie, the second one's the truth.
Whoopsie, I was muted.
Oh.
Okay. I, so you said first one, right? So I wasn't a drag queen.
Hmm.
Final answer.
Final answer.
You are correct.
Oh damn.
So I do, in fact, own a bit over 200 Squishmallows. Though most of them are now in storage, unfortunately, because
Aw,
it got a little overwhelming. I did give a few away as well. I have given a few away. But at my peak, I did own 200 Squishmallows. I think right now I'm about like 70, something like that. Um, but yes, I did run and organize an underground LGBTQIA plus club.
damn. Well, see, aren't you a rebel? You love to see it.
um, but I unfortunately was not a drag queen.
No, but
Though I do love the art of drag.
oh, me too.
Literally one of my faves. Like absolutely adore drag. Uh Speaking of drag, actually, have you ever seen the show Dragula?
Yes, I'm excited. I think tomorrow comes out new season.
Yes, yes. I think is it today or is it tomorrow? One of the two. We'll have Dragula, what is it? Their All-Stars version. I'm
Yep,
so excited.
I am too. I wonder who they're going to bring back.
Yes. Did you see the okay, so it is tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow is the premiere. But they posted on YouTube, if you want to see who they have brought back, they posted their ad for their commercial. I am so excited. I'm so excited. I will not spoil in case anyone wants to see for themselves, obviously, but I'm really happy.
Okay, I'm looking right after stream. I gotta see. I gotta know.
Yes. Um, are you ready for your two truths and a lie?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to listen.
Okay, two truths and a lie. Um, I have a collection of 500 bones.
Oh wow.
Um, another truth or lie, maybe, depending. I'm trying to twist with your mind a little bit. um, I have owned exotic animals before.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I have had a wonderful conversation, though it was brief, with a horror director of Jack Frost, the Killer Snowman movie.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, that's a hard one. Okay. Hmm. I want to say maybe this like there's a little trick in here. A little trick in here. Maybe I'm gonna say maybe it's the first one, and maybe you do own a lot of bones, but maybe it's not 500.
No, no.
That's my guess. What do we think, chat? What do we think? Raiders, hi Raiders, welcome in. Please enjoy Hatsune Miku as she sings my original song, Bear Hugs and Rainbow Dreams. Chewunky's here to lift you off the ground. Mm-mm-mm. Hi, Busby, welcome in. Hi. We are currently doing a collaboration. LGBT History Month and Spooky
Woo!
Month. It's amazing. Horror Mama or Yue-Rose. We're doing some fun times. We're going over some history. We just started, so feel free to come on up. How are you? How was your stream? I would love to know. I hope you all had a slay amazing time. We're doing a little bit of a little icebreaker first with some two truths and a lie. I am guessing that you have not had the 500 bones.
You're correct. Besides the bones that are inside my body, I don't own a single one. And I
Oh,
kind
no, oh my goodness. That was such a specific number, too.
It just jumped in my head.
I was like, oh my gosh, either this one has to be like exactly true, or it has to be the fiddle. I heard some pretty weird things about the Jack Frost director. I'd be wrong. I'm right. Oh, I hope you all had an amazing stream, Frosty. Please, if you need to do any sort of after stream care, please feel free to do so. For the raiders and raidies, if you guys need to take off, I promise your community is in very good hands. I love that. We just did our little what do you call it? Icebreaker. And now we get to go a little bit more in depth into what we're here for today. So LGBTQIA plus History Month is this month, October, and we are going to be going into how a lot of the queerness in horror movies and how they connect to one another. So, for my first little interview-ish question, do you have a favorite or first horror memory that made you feel seen? Maybe like when you watched The Addams Family for the first time and you saw Morticia and Gomez, or maybe it was Nightmare on Elm Street too.
My first actually horror memory would be watching Carrie. On a
Ooh,
couple
you agree?
fronts. Yeah, I related to a lot of Carrie. Not with the religious family aspect. That, luckily,
Hmm.
Um, but I was bullied a lot as a kid from K through 12,
Mhm.
unfortunately. And there's also that horror trope that kind of meshes in with queerness sometimes. It's the
Mhm.
monster is feminine. Basically, women's bodies are scary, y'all.
Yeah,
Just.
I've heard that. I can completely understand that. Yes, definitely. I know it is something that, in horror, it's such a kind of weird trope that sticks together, like, funnily enough. It's kind of funny because it's like, oh wow, they really do think women's bodies are that terrifying.
Yeah, and not only that, but this is kind of like touching on gender a little bit,
Mhm,
because social studies is an umbrella term for like gender and all of that.
mhm.
So, it kind of relates to how women's bodies are, horrifying in ways of not just biology, but in ways of like the patriarchy and society and all the
Yeah,
expectations and all that good stuff, right?
literally, yeah. No, completely understandable.
Mhm.
I know that for me, I think one of my favorite horror memories has to be when I saw the funnily enough, when I saw um Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and how inherently queer that movie is.
Oh, that movie is. Have you seen the documentary?
No, I haven't.
I think it's on Tubi. I know that Shudder has it.
Oh, okay. I mean that would make sense. I can see Shudder having that 100%.
It's apparently, according to Robert England, they were gonna try and have it be more gayer, but
Oh,
of course, they didn't allow it. But they tried to
yeah.
get away with what they could.
I can definitely see that. I definitely know that in being, I mean, obviously one of the first male protagonists and the in the movie scene and them having it try and basically just put in that they're literally just there and they're trying to push the same like stereotypes with the female protagonist as the male one, it's like, that's
Right?
not really gonna work. But talking about horror icons like Freddy Krueger, do you have a favorite horror icon?
Um, oh, there's a lot of horror icons I really love. Honestly, I think one of them's just Elvira.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I can definitely see that. We love Elvira
We do. The Queen of Halloween.
for literally.
But I think
I definitely love
oh,
them.
Elvira's Queen, exactly. See, my chat knows. As far as like horror goes, I don't know. In the recent years, I think I like maybe Chucky and Tiffany a little bit more.
Ooh, okay.
Um, yeah, I'd say that's probably my final answer.
Chucky and Tiffany and Elvira.
Yeah.
I can see that, honestly. Definitely, definitely. I feel like it's very. I mean, I feel like Elvira is horror. She is the queen of the night.
Yeah.
I love the Chucky and Tiffany as well. Definitely faves of mine as well. Chucky and Tiffany. I've always loved Child's Play, especially Child's Play. What is it? 3, The Seed of Chucky. Definitely a very very nice movie with our slay amazing Glenn and Glenda.
Mm-hmm. Which
Honestly, love them.
which did you know the Glenn and Glenda? That's an actual horror movie.
Is it
It is. And oddly
Glenn and
enough,
Glenda?
it does. And oddly enough, it does touch on a queerness in a way of someone struggling with their gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember right, I can't remember like what the actual plot is, but that's like the major thing.
Ooh, okay, okay.
So I can't remember. I think it was Glenda was like the murderous one, and Glenn was the nice one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Charles finally accepted their child in Chucky the series. Yeah, see the series actually. I know that the series went on for a bit, and I've
Mm-hmm.
heard I've heard good things about it, and I've heard things. I know people are like, oh well, I don't know why they were trying to make it a series. They should have made it a movie, and it's like, okay, well, it means you get more of Chucky and more of what is her name? Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah,
Oh, love her. Love her.
I do too. She is so fantastic.
She is honestly, oh, she's so slay. And she's such an advocate too. She's a big LGBT advocate as well.
She is.
Talking about queerness and talking about horror, who would you categorize as the queerest horror icon?
Here's horror icon. I don't think I could do the whole cast of Rocky Horror, can I? That'd be
I
cheating.
mean, practically, right?
I mean, we all know Dr. Frankenfurter is like way up there.
Oh, definitely. Chucky's kid. Oh yeah, Glenn and Glenda.
Yeah.
Tim Curry. Okay, yeah, I love that. Love that.
See, Tim Curry is an honorary queen.
Honestly, honestly.
You're damn right. You put some respect on that name. Who else? I kind of want to say Like we were just talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I kind of want to say like uh well the technical Scream Queen with that one.
Oh yeah,
Uh
definitely. I can see that.
I forgot his name. It's been a while since I watched it.
No, valid. My partner is a large horror fan, but even he hasn't really seen too many horror films, which I think is kind of funny.
Really?
Yeah, he loves like the classic Scream. He loves Ghostface. Never seen the
Mm-hmm.
classic Scream. He likes Michael Myers. Has never seen Halloween. He likes Jason Voorhees. Never seen Friday the 13th. It's really
Man,
funny.
they got some homework to do. They got a lot of
Right?
movies.
That's what we're trying to do this Halloween. Yesterday, I made them watch Nightmare on Elm Street, Corpse Bride for the first time, and they really
Ooh,
liked it.
that's good. That's a good one.
That's one of my faves. That has to be one of my faves, honestly. It's such a cute movie. It's really sad though too. I'm like, oh, no spoilers, obviously, but
Right.
Tim Curry, the honorary queen, honestly. Yes, Tim Burton movies. Honestly, such a wonderful time with Tim Burton movies.
I know. I hope that he can create more movies like that again. Because
Same.
like I love that one. Though not to be the 2000s girly, but I do like the Night Before Christmas, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Edward Scissorhands was really good.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh wow, nicely, Oko. I think for me, I also really like um have you seen Jennifer's Body?
Yes,
Jennifer's Body, definitely one of the queerest. That
of
movie is so
course.
sapphic.
It is.
13 Ghosts. Oh my goodness. I have not heard of 13 Ghosts in a minute. That was an iconic movie.
Wait, which one? The one with the guy that plays Monk or
I think that's what it was. 13 Ghosts though was honestly that was one of my first horror movies I remember so vividly just because of the what is it? The one of the scenes. I know obviously Matthew Lillard is in there. Um we have what is it? Shauna Lawyer, Shannon Elizabeth,
mm-hmm.
so many different like icons in these movies, and it's just kind of funny when you think about it. That 2001's one, oh, technically Scooby Doo's horror, so Velma.
Ha. I mean they're not
Valid.
wrong. They're not wrong. I guess in the original script, what they were supposed to do with Scooby Doo was make it more adult for adults with horror and everything, and they were gonna have it where Velma and Daphne shared a kiss, maybe in a relationship with each other. So, but I think they were planning on because I do know in a couple of recent Scooby Doo movies, they had Velma come out as gay, and that was a plan for a real long time.
Yes, I do. I've heard that before, and I'm like, ooh, I like that. Shaggy and the Glass Door is yes, exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. Ice. I really liked that movie. I think one of my favorite movies of all times, which honestly I feel like gets a little funky, is Freddy versus Jason. That movie was so campy.
It was amazing though.
It was. That was such a great movie. That was just one of my honestly like one of my favorites. Whenever I think of horror, I think of Freddy versus Jason. I watched it in the drive-in. Shout out to the drive-ins if anyone's been to a drive-in movie. Watching it from your car. I watched it from my car. Um and late at night with my cousins and everything, and it's just like a core memory for me.
Oh, I'm kind of jealous. You went to a drive-in. I've never been to one of those.
It's honestly, it's like it's very nostalgic. Like nowadays, it's a little harder because like most people don't have like radio in their car. They'll have like Sirius FM or whatever. But I really did enjoy having it, and it was really nice. It gives me memories. Scooby Doo Zombie Island, heck yeah. I love that. I love those so much. Um, Going on to, talking about all these different movies and even some of the 90s movies and whatnot. Um, do you know what the Hays Code is?
I do.
Slay. Would you like to give a little demonstration or a little what they are, what it was?
The Hays Code was back in like the 40s to 60s, I believe, where
Mm,
they gave like a big guideline for movies and other media of what they can show, what they can't show, especially when it comes to gay and queerness.
mhm.
And you couldn't depict a lot of things, like nobody. You can only have people kiss if they were the opposite sex. You couldn't have anybody holding hands. You couldn't have anybody come out as gay. None of that.
Yes, thank you so much for the sub, Amy. Mwah, thank you so much. But yeah, so in the 1930s, the government established a set of guidelines to try and govern the content of films produced in the U.S. The code was in effect until 1968, actually, which is
Mhm.
pretty scary because it's like that's not that long ago, like
Oh no.
whoa. But basically what happened was they decided to put in this really really loose set of laws that would try and dictate what you can and can't put on stream, or I mean on stream, on film. um and it had such a loose depiction of what you could and couldn't do because they described it as quote unquote sexual perversion in films. And although it
Yeah.
didn't like explicitly mention homosexuality, but people like really understood what it meant. And this is where we see some of the first hints of what's known as queer coding in different characters. So we would see queer coded characters, and we would see LGBT plus characters represented through a series of negative stereotypes and exaggerated mannerisms. And often we would see them used as villains, which is where the queer villain really came from.
Yep. The rule was that if you had somebody come out as gay or just any type of queer identity, that they absolutely had to be the villain. They could never be the hero, or they could be the comic relief, or unfortunately, in a lot of movies, they had to be unalived.
Hmm. Which is absolutely insane, but it's like
Mhm.
that's how it was at the time. And if you could get a queer character in there and you got the queer character in there, yeah, definitely agree, Amy. Definitely agree. They should have had a lot more.
Mhm.
For the Hayes Code, after the 60s in 1968, once it was lifted, this is also when we see a big rise in sort of like sexualization within horror. So if you notice a lot of the 1970s horror films, they're like, yes, we can put boobs in there.
We can put boobs in there,
Like
but don't you dare!
exactly.
But don't you dare show women getting off, though.
Exactly,
That's
exactly right. It's like, oh, we can show boobs, but don't put two men kissing. How dare
mm-mm.
you? And that's when we get a lot of the real, like some of the really iconic movies, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Yeah.
Halloween, Alien, Jaws, Carrie, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The
Oh yeah.
Exorcist. Like this is when you get all that, which is honestly so funny. Oh my god, my toggles went off like crazy. What did I just do? There we go. There we go. So, talking about the Hays Code and going into these different things, and talking about queer coding, have you heard of Dracula's Daughter?
I've never watched the movie, but I have heard of it. It's one of
Mhm,
the first movie depicting a lesbian monster.
mhm.
Um,
It
I
is,
I have heard of Carmilla as well, which is kind of like a
yeah.
offshoot of that.
Mhm. Pretty much the same, honestly. Not even gonna front. It's like it is incredibly sapphic. So for anyone who wants to watch a sapphic movie with lesbian vampire, uh Dracula's Daughter is an old movie. It is a fairly old movie. However, it does give a little bit of it does give a little bit of like incense in the intuition and insight. Jeez Louise, I almost said insight.
Oh no.
I was like, what is the word? Insight. It gives a little bit of insight as to what the directors had to do at the time to show what the characters were going through. Yes, Amy, lesbian vampires. There's even a portion in the movie where, okay, so this is Dracula's Daughter. And it comes right after the original Dracula. And it shows the main character, and they are staring very heavily at this woman, like lusting after her. And according to them, it's supposed to show like how evil she is. She's trying to kill this woman, but it just looks like she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hit that. It is one of the first openly sapphic coded horror films. Talking about vampires and queerness, do you know what vampires are said to represent in queerness and in horror?
There's a couple things.
Hmm.
Um, like one thing that vampires represent in queerness is how, and this is gonna get pretty dark, just to let everybody know, about how a lot of times conservatives or people who are very homophobic see queerness as something you can catch or something that could be transferred. But on a lighter note, besides that, that's bad. But on a lighter note, it can also represent of I've heard people say like bisexuality, like I might be stumbling on my words a little bit. Um
Yeah,
I don't know.
honestly.
I've heard so many different interpretations, honestly.
I mean, yeah, it really, really is. So, I mean, basically, when we're talking about queerness and especially this sense and everything, especially when we're talking about vampires and whatnot, it's very easy it's very easy. I put the wrong team in on kitchen. Whoopsies. It's very easy to really go down, these different rabbit holes about what vampires represent or what monsters are supposedly, represent and whatnot. When in reality, it's kind of like know what they do represent or what is they're said to represent. And often they are symbolized to represent repressed sexuality,
Mm-hmm.
especially within like queer desire. And so one of the best examples I can give is from the movie slash book series Twilight. When we're looking at the main characters, the Cullens, they are, repressing themselves. They are actively choosing a different path than what their bodies are telling them to do, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote vegetarians,
Right.
um, but they lust after something that is supposed to be, something that's natural to them, but seen unnatural to everyone else, right?
Right.
Similar to vampires, they lust after other humans for their blood, and they have to usually try and suppress themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see this heavily featured with the Cullens. We can see it in different vampire medias, and in different medias where these creatures, these monsters, are seen as different, right?
Right.
And so when we see vampires and we see what they represent specifically within queerness or within horror, there's so many different aspects that we can take and relate to our own queernesses.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mhm. So before going to our next example of monsters and queerness, do you think that horror has historically harmed or helped queer folks?
I kind of want to see that as a double-edged sword.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, it's like, especially with movies way back in the day, they could only do so much to show queerness. I mean, that's why
Mhm.
in what we just said with Dracula's daughter, the whole intense staring thing, that's probably about as far as they can go with that. Because especially because you had the Hays Code, you had movie developers, producers. They gave a list of what you can and can't do.
Mhm.
Um, but it does also. I mean, it's great that we came so far, but it sucks like where we've been. Like in a couple
Yeah.
movies, like Psycho, uh, Norman Bates is queer coded as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you had him. You had 25 Maniacs. I think that the slasher in that one was often dressed up as a woman, so that was often queer. That was also queer coded. So you can kind of see that it kind of hurt in that retrospect because you still had people fearing queerness, fearing something that they haven't gotten the chance to, or maybe haven't taken the time to understand. But it's also helped in ways of people who are young kids that I say young kids, but people watching horror movies and kind of seeing themselves as like the monster or seeing themselves as one of the characters and going, oh, well, maybe this is something that I can dissect and understand with myself.
Mhm. Definitely, definitely. I really like the way that you worded that as well. Like it really is a double-edged sword, especially in the sense of like they did it. It was good that we had that sort of representation, but also like how are we supposed to take that when it's almost like we're told that we're not human. Like a lot of the representation we got were monsters.
Right. And it's like even in recent times, like how you're supposed to react when people compare queer people to like Buffalo Bill or
Uh-huh.
if you want to get darker to like Ed Gein.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Sorry, my mom came in. She gave me a letter from her coworkers. Did you get your present? No. It's on the table. Oh, this is so cute. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, let's go. Aw, I just got married, and my mom's coworkers gave us a card that they handmade, and it has me and my partner on it.
Aww.
I'll take a picture so I can show. It is very cute, very very cute. Oh my god, Neo, big fan, big fan. Hi, how are you? How are you doing, Bubs? But yeah, I definitely. We're talking about queerness and horror. Welcome in, friend. Um, but yeah, I think that it's definitely up there, and that's something we're going to be touching on a little bit later. So I don't want to go too much into it, so we can have some more talking points about it a little later. But are you aware of the queerness within the original Frankenstein?
A little bit.
Of course, yeah.
Hmm.
Would you like me to fill you in?
Sure, absolutely.
So, Frankenstein is so incredibly queer. The It's actually funny because the what do you call it? The author, Mary Shelley, was actually very heavily rumored to be um queer, whether that is gay or bisexual or pan, can be really up to interpretation. Thank you so much, Amy. Yeah. See you. Also, happy early birthday, Stinky. um, and I think it's really funny when we talk about these different things, and when we go and we decide to talk about things like Frankenstein, which is an old book, from the 1800s. It is still something that can be seen as queer and queer coded because of all of the themes within Frankenstein, which is absolutely crazy banana bonkers to me, because Mary Shelley is, heavily rumored queerness or not. That book itself has so much inherently like queer energy, especially when talking about different aspects. So for anyone who doesn't know, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is the book. It is the book Frankenstein, and it is basically um super queer because it goes into a large amount of detail of Frankenstein, who is the doctor, and then Frankenstein's monster, who is the monster he created. And it goes into detail on how he created the monster and what parts he used to create those monsters or that monster. And so we get to see, everything that he was talking about when talking about adding on a little NSFW moment here, but talking about how he had to look for the proper parts and appendages,
Oh.
if you catch my drift. Literally. Hi guys, welcome in. I just think is so incredibly funny, especially when we're talking about like these incredibly different movies and whatnot, because not only was Frankenstein the book inherently queer, but the movie was also created by an openly queer creator.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people don't know that Frankenstein, the original movie brought to the silver screen, was actually created by an openly gay man named James Whale.
Oh.
And although the premise was, inherently different, it was still a really big win for the LGBT community.
Yeah, because back at that time, you didn't really have many openly gay creators, come out
Exactly.
and do that. Yeah, that's awesome.
And also, quoting from an article called Queerness and Monstrosity, which I highly recommend people read if you are into reading, about queerness and horror. Um, there's something about Frankenstein's creation and monsters in general that really speak deeply to the queer community. And it's that inherent feeling of being unnatural, of being unlovable, about being abandoned by society, etc. And especially within Frankenstein's creations, own place, being abandoned by your creator, which can really be attributed and symbolized as being abandoned by family, right? Which is something
Yeah,
that I know a lot of queer folks really go through, is that abandonment that a lot of us really feel when we are authentically ourselves. We feel a lot of, this sadness and this remorse of what's happening. Like we're losing the people who are supposed to be the ones who have brought us into this world, the ones who have loved us for so much.
mm-hmm.
And it's really, really, super, super sad, but it's also really eye-opening when we really look at it.
Yeah. I mean, really, that's all anybody really wants. It's just to be loved, have a place to belong, and
Mhm.
a lot of monsters go through that. I mean, a lot of people too, of course. But in fiction, that is a reoccurring theme, especially in horror.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm just like, it really, really does go along these different, what is the word? These different views that people have, right?
Yeah.
Is that when we talk about these monsters, and their inherent like feeling of being unnatural and unattractive, although let me just say, some monsters,
I mean, there's a whole community of us that really like monsters. We know who you are, and we approve.
honestly, I mean, I'm here. How are you, friend? Welcome in. So, we're gonna go on to a new little segment. So this is horror as a queer analogy or queer allegory. For those of us just joining us, Babel, hi. We are talking about queerness and about horror. And right now we're doing a little segment called Horror as Queer Allegory. So I'm gonna name three little words slash phrases, and I would love for you, Yui, to give me your first initial thoughts. So when I say this word, what do you think about them in relation to horror and queerness?
Okay.
All right. Our first word is monsters.
Well, the first thing I think of when I hear the word monster, especially with queerness, is that when you're trying to get in touch with who you are on the inside, and you can't quite put a pinpoint on how you feel,
Hmm.
especially with I know we spoke earlier about societal expectations and how you know horror often explores the different or the other. That you feel like you're a monster. You feel like you don't belong. You feel like there has to be something wrong with you.
Hmm.
And sometimes, queer people, we love to watch horror movies, and it's comforting to see the monster on screen, knowing that, hey, maybe I'm not so alone. But it does make you feel essentially like a monster when you don't understand
Mhm.
yourself.
Exactly, exactly. And me, Ice, I'm the one that loves monsters in every way.
Hey,
I love that.
same.
I love how you phrase that as well too.
Thank you.
So our next word is camp.
Huh?
Camp. Camp, kind of like the
Oh.
within the like a almost a drag setting, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. My brain short
Mm.
circuited for a second. Well, the first thing I think of is John Waters. Literally.
Literally, no, yeah, I love that. Exactly, exactly. So for everyone who doesn't know what camp is, so camp is a subsection of a genre in which we really are talking along the lines of like how do I describe camp? It's an aesthetic, honestly, right? So it's that embracement of exaggeration. I think that's like one of the best ways I can explain it is that exaggeration, you know, like the irony, being so bad that it's good, you know, so over the top that it's like kind of funny. And I think one of the best examples I can give in modern terms, you know, would be like Megan, the horror movie. So bad that it's good. So, you know, inherently funny that it's supposed to be horror. And I think a better example I can give is like Freddy versus Jason, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's horror, but it's not. It's almost like making fun of itself in a way. And it's not a negative way or anything like that. It's definitely going, you know, through a different sort of understanding of what it is, but camp and horror have such a big mix.
It does. Like,
With
this,
that
but
being said,
oh,
sorry, I'll
sorry.
let you go.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, okay. I was gonna say, especially in the 80s, where you could pretty much do whatever you wanted.
Mm, exactly, exactly. Specifically, you know, with a lot of different movies, you know, not even just talking specifically about the 80s, but with movies kind of like Tu Wong Fu, going into the queer aspect of things, you know, like Tu Wong Fu for different movies like what is it? Breakfast at Tiffany's is pretty camp as well, you know, not really taking itself too seriously. And a lot of these movies really kind of go into what we think of when we think of queerness and camp. It really comes from our understanding of queer media as well.
Mm-hmm.
Going to our next little phrase, after, you know, camp, our next phrase is horror fandoms.
Horror fandoms. Hmm. Well, the first thing I think of is like horror conventions.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think of community. Like, really, out of every fandom I've been a part of, the horror community has been the most chill. They've accepted everybody. Everybody's welcome. They're all just there to have a good time. Maybe watch some, creative kills on screen once in a while, but overall, a very wholesome community.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I love that. Those are actually things I wrote down very similarly to as well, right? Community spaces, conventions, online groups, um, and then also like queer refugee. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's something that is definitely in the horror fandom.
Oh, definitely.
Going forward, have you ever thought about how queerness and horror parallel the real world?
Um, in good aspects and in bad aspects.
Hmm.
And in a lot of aspects. Like, I know I've touched on, and I'm gonna keep like hammering this home, but like the negative stuff with connotations of all that, with how even though in modern day like queer people are still being compared to Buffalo Bill and just that part of the negative, but also the positive of
Hmm.
it. Um, there's a thing with the monster I said also, and people finding love and community in the fandom, online conventions, all that. I think that's all I got for parallel, really.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I mean, hey, like that, I think that that really does bring home a lot of what we think about when we think about these different sort of ideas, right? When we talk about, what's going on through horror, what's going on in the real world, there's so many similarities that can be brought up. And some of the similarities I have written down kind of go in examples as paralleled events, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the 60s, we've have movies like Night of the Living Dead. We have movies like The Fly, and they really parallel a lot of the LGBT events, like in the AIDS crisis. Those movies came out during the 1960s, along with the tragedy that was the AIDS crisis. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people would really kind of take solace in some of these movies. I mean, I don't think I would. I'm being completely honest. I don't think I would take solace in those movies because they felt like it feels almost like they were, you know, super stigmatizing, where
Yeah.
it's like Night of the Living Dead is a zombie apocalypse. It's an infection movie. You have this infection, it's coming. People don't know where it's from. People don't know how you get it. Like you're getting bit and you're getting, taken advantage of, and
Mm-hmm.
you're getting this unstoppable virus that you don't know how to cure.
Right,
And then
exactly.
within the movie The Fly, if anyone hasn't seen The Fly, it's a transformation movie which can touch on more than just, allegories of queerness, but allegories of transness, of having gender dysphoria and an uncontrollable body mutations even. And when we're going deeper and deeper into these horrors and these movies, we get to talk about how the Fly really can represent a lot of gender dysphoria and how people feel in between them. What an awkward place to raid into. Hey, Sugar, oh, I does see. Welcome in, Raiders. Please enjoy please enjoy your time here. Please enjoy Hatsune Miku as they sing my original song, Beer Hugs and Rainbow Dreams. I'll let it play out. with Chewunky the level flow. Welcome in, friends. Hello, hello, hello. If you don't know who I am, I'm the funky and chunky Chewunky. I usually play FPS games like Overwatch 2, Apex Legends, Valorant, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, etc. I'm also partial to other games like Genshin Impact, Cookie Run Kingdom, Call to the Lamb, Dungeons and Dragons, and Pokemon. I'm also a pixel artist. I do Pixar emotes, sub badges, overlays, etc. You name it, and I'll try and pixel it. Welcome in, friends. How are you, Sugar? What were you up to? What was your stream? I would love to know. We are doing a collab here with Yue-Rose, aka Horrormamavt. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, hello. I am Horrormamvt VT or Yue-Rose. I do a lot of macabre hobby streams like movies, games. We do arts and crafts. I look scary, but I'm actually really harmless.
Slay! And thank you so much, Ghost, for the follow as well. I appreciate it. Peak? Oh, did you get to the peak? Did you get to the peak? I hope y'all did. I hope your peaking was amazing. I hope you got through the Calthera unharmed. We are talking about queerness and horror and how they intertwine, as October is LGBTQIA plus History Month. Oh my god, 100% achievements! Hell yeah, let's go!
Man, good for you. That's,
Nice!
yeah.
So we are just talking about, you did it twice? You peaked twice? I've only peaked once. Have you ever peaked before, UA?
No, I'm still a peak virgin.
It's so
it's
fun.
it's one of the games I have to get. It's on the list.
Yes, it's really fun. If you ever want to play it, I like playing it. I think it's so funny because you get to hear people scream in the distance. You're like, yay, I'm so excited. Let me snooze this ad for y'all so you can listen in a bit more. You came in at a perfect time. We're talking about horror as queer allegories, and we were just talking about how horror movies can parallel LGBT and LGBT events. We were actually talking about the movie The Fly, if anyone has seen The Fly, and how gory that, transformation is. It kind of really correlates and can be a big symbol and symbolize gender dysphoria within the LGBTQIA community, more specifically the trans community. Yes, definitely, definitely. And so now going a little bit more from horror into our queer history, UA, do you know what the Stonewall uprisings or the Stonewall riots were?
I do.
Slay. Would you like to give a little bit of a what it was?
Yeah, basically the Stonewall riots was back in the 60s. And this was at a time when police did not need a warrant or nothing. They used to raid LGBT clubs, like anywhere, because queerness was against the law. Like, it took nothing for them to drag people out of clubs and doing nasty stuff. No, we don't have to get into what they did. I mean, we know pretty much what the police do. And they reached Stonewall, and from my understanding, Stonewall was kind of a place not just for LGBT people, but for anybody from the underbelly of society looking for any refuge. You had runaways, you had substance addicts going there, just anybody that just needed a quick breath, from like whatever demons they were facing as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the police raided the wrong club, raided the wrong place, because everyone fought back, and yeah, this took place for like a couple days, actually, of the police and people of Stonewall going back and forth.
Yeah. Essentially. So Stonewall, what happened was it was a 6 day long, um, I don't want to say event because I feel like that kind of, lessens what it really was. So
Yeah,
one of the ways I describe Stonewall is I always describe it as a uprising. And the reason I call it an uprising is because of that is what the survivors of Stonewall, and now I say survivors as in those who are still alive to this day. Nobody died at Stonewall. But those who are still alive to this day refer to Stonewall as an uprising because it was not really a riot. The queer folks there did not really riot. And so what started Stonewall is that at the Stonewall Inn, which was mafia owned, it was a little bit of a you scratch my back, we'll scratch yours. Which the mafia would, obviously give us this space. They didn't really care what we were up to as long as we paid. And police also actually didn't really care what we were up to. Um, as long as we paid and we would, give them the bribes, the police would leave. It is what it is. It's what happened. And what happened in order to make Stonewall happen is that during the 1960s, the queer community was actually basically having an uprising in and of itself. They were gaining more rights. They were gaining more traction. People were becoming more, okay with each one of these different things. Maggie, hi Cloud Guy, how are you, my friend? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I'm gonna lower the alert sound a little bit, but welcome in, Raiders. Hi, if you know me, you know me. I'm Chuwu, I'm Chuwunky. How are you, my friend? I hope you had a so amazing time playing Minecraft. We are talking about queer history today. And so sorry, I lost my place a little bit. Um, we were actually gaining a lot of rights in the 1960s. 1969 was really a big mark for LGBTQIA plus rights. We were gaining, small municipal, places to gain more rights, and that scared people. That's the bottom line is we were going and we were gaining more things. It scared people. And unfortunately, because it scared people, that meant that people were trying to go against us even harder. And so what police would do in this instance of, oh, the LGBT people are here, what they would do originally is they would come over to Stonewall and they would accept bribes. But during this time, they would also entrap LGBT people. So they would send undercover cops and they would have those undercover cops go directly towards different folks who were either, gender nonconforming, going over folks who may have been trans, and going folks who seemed more feminine as the cops were male. And they would go and take them into a bathroom. And if they did not meet the same genitalia that they were dressing as, they would arrest them for female impersonation. And that was sort of leading up to this. But now the cops and the police were angry that we were gaining more rights. And so what they did was they stormed the Stonewall Inn. They said, everyone in here is under arrest, no matter what. If you're queer or if you're not, you're in this place illegally and you are under arrest. And we had enough. The LGBT folks had enough. And so they decided to fight back. And although this series of events between police and LGBTQIA plus protesters would stretch over 6 days, some people think it was just a one-time instance. This stretched over 6 days, and it was not the first time that police would raid a gay bar. And it was not the first time LGBTQ plus people would fight back. But the events that would unfold over these next 6 days would fundamentally change the discourse surrounding LGBTQ plus activism in the United States.
Mm.
While Stonewall would become, massively well known because of the massive media coverage and subsequent annual Pride traditions, it was honestly a culmination of years and years and years of LGBTQIA plus activism. However, historians have noted that that shift in activism, if it would, truly represent one at all, was a shift primarily for white cisgender people, as people of
Mm.
color and gender nonconforming individuals would never have that benefit to conceal their marginalized identities.
Oh, geez.
Mhm. It's crazy. Sorry, I went on a big, ramble. LGBT history is one of my passions, and I love whenever I'm able to really showcase a lot of the history, and I'm able to help, really show what happened and what was going on.
Oh no, that's okay. Like this is good information.
Hmm. So going forward, do you know what the lavender scare was?
I do.
Slay. Would you like to give us a little bit of what the lavender scare was?
Briefly, the lavender scare was pretty much like the Red Scare, but for gay people. Like people were outing their neighbors, people were outing people they thought that were gay. And again, being queer was against the law. I mean, I remember watching this one propaganda short film. It's pretty notorious. It's a really, really bad film. Um, Basically, I had this kid like talking to this guy. This guy is gay, and this was the time when they lumped gay and queer people with pedophiles, like equated the two.
Mhm.
And so there was a lot of propaganda pieces about that.
Exactly, exactly. So the lavender scare, exactly what you already said. Um, it was basically like the Red Scare, but for queer folk. And so it was basically the government saying, "Hey, homosexuals are harming the US as a whole." Thank you so much, girls. I really appreciate that. It's basically them saying like, "Hey, the queer folks are going to be easy to manipulate in essence. Like they're gonna be they're gonna tell our secrets if they get caught." And this was all during the same time as the Red Scare as well. So it was really, that lean into they're gonna hurt us, they're gonna harm us. And so they were getting rid of so many LGBTQIA plus people, you know, not only in general, but in government as well, which was really, really harmful because so many people would lose their jobs and were susceptible to blackmail. And so folks would, kind of find out like, hey, um, so and so, I saw them, being a little friendly with, so and so. And so they would, try and get into those different things and it would cost them their livelihoods, not being able to be hired and having your name basically publicly smeared as someone who was queer was very, very scary at that time. And so moving from US history, since I know I do focus primarily on US history, since I am from the US, I'm from California. So I know a lot more about the US history. I've been trying to become more worldly. So these next questions are going to be about Canada and the UK.
Okay.
So Canada is seen as a very progressive within the LGBTQIA plus rights, but do you know some of the turning points that made that possible?
I'm not very good at world history with this. But I do know when Canada established their rights for marriage for queer
Mhm.
people. And that was in
Mm-hmm.
2005. I think that's like all I really know.
Mm-hmm. So some of these different events that would lead up to Canada, being able to shift their rights and everything, would be also in 1969, same year as Stonewall. Canada would actually decriminalize homosexuality under Pierre Trudeau, where their official Trudeau said that there is no place for the state in the bedrooms of the nations,
Hmm.
which was a huge win for the LGBT. However, sorry, equality was not immediate, and there was still a lot of discrimination. And the real turning point was actually the Toronto bathhouse raids of 1981. And this is when the police would storm bathhouses and arrested over 300 men. And the backlash would spark protests known as Canada's Stonewall, galvanizing both activism and shifting public opinion because of the overuse of power within Canada's police. And so most of these charges were connected to the incident were eventually dropped and or discharged, although some of the bathhouse owners were fined $40,000.
Jeez.
And so what would happen is um although there were, smaller raids or whatnot, many of the gay bathhouses in Canada had been previously raided, and other smaller raids would actually follow. That specific one, it was called Operation Soap, and is considered to be that special turning point because the raids and their aftermath is, widely considered the equivalent of the 1969 Stonewall riots, as mass protests and rallies were held denouncing the incident. And that is actually what evolved into Toronto's current Pride Week, which is one of the largest gay pride festivals.
Huh.
Do
Uh,
you know when Canada legalized same sex marriage?
um, yeah, I kind of want to say it was like early 2000s, like maybe about 2005 when they did that. I think so, because I know it was a lot sooner than America. We didn't do ours until like 2012, I must say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It was
Oh,
2005.
woohoo, I know numbers.
Yeah, during 2005 is when Canada would finally legalize same-sex marriage. Moving on towards more UK history. It's so sad because the UK used to be seen as one of the most accepting places, but we're oh my gosh, no, I completely feel it. I'm like, the world is going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now, sugar. Absolutely crazy.
I don't like this
So
timeline.
for our right. So, for our next question, do you know, sorry, I completely lost my freaking place. Oh my goodness.
So,
Um, do you know what Section 28 was and how it impacted queer youth in the UK?
um, I kind of want to say Section 28 was the UK's version of outlawing queerness.
Pretty close, pretty
Okay.
close. So Section 28 was actually it was the prohibition of local authorities and schools from promoting homosexuality or teaching the acceptability of homosexuality as as a familial relationship.
Oh,
And this would happen in 1988. And so it silenced and it really hurt a lot of queer people, especially in the UK, especially youth, because they didn't have any education as to what being queer was, what it means to be a queer person, how queer people, have intercourse, that they're the same as everyone else. And it unintentionally, created a lot of chilling effects that had such damage on a lot of the queer youth. But it also sparked outrage and impacts where um a lot of UK folk actually they would even storm the BBC, and they would, go in protest of Section 28.
oh, yeah. I thought UK was they were a little more progressive back then, weren't they? Except, with Section 28.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
And then do
sad.
you know, yeah, it really is, because it's like it's not only are you taking from like the LGBT, you're taking from the kids too.
You
Like
are. It's like they have to know the stuff.
exactly, because it's like it's again, it's stuff that really goes on. It's a lot of politics and people trying to blame others and create that fear,
Of
and
course.
it's just like, do you need to create the fear or do you want to create the fear?
They have the want to need to create the fear.
Period.
Yep.
Do you know about the solidarity movement like the LGSM in the 1980s?
I do not actually.
So, during the UK miners' strike, miners, MINER, not OR, the LGSM, which was the funnily enough, I believe it was the cheese and rice. Why can I not find it in my brain to figure out what LGSM is? Because I have it in my notes. It's lesbian and gay support minors. I'm like
Okay.
90% sure that's what it is. Um, Please someone correct me if I'm wrong. But during the UK miners' strike, the LGSM, which was the Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners, raised money to support the striking miners, who were honestly like really, really shocked. They're like, what the fuck? Like, hello? But they were extremely grateful. And the mining communities would actually help back the LGBTQIA and their rights. And that solidarity showed that queerness wasn't isolated and it was a part of a more broader struggle against oppression.
Okay,
This
yeah.
Mhm. Slay. Okay, I was like, please, I hope I didn't say that one wrong. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to become more worldly. Um, so do you know what some pre-colonial queer identities are that have survived colonization or colonialism?
I know of one, and this probably
Mhm.
isn't the best term to use, but it's the only term that I know of. Is over in, I want to say, like Taiwan or in Korea, they have
Mhm.
lady boys, men that dress up as women. They go on dates. But
Yeah.
that's like the only knowledge I have.
So yes, so they have the what many people refer to as ladyboys, but are also known as katoi. Those are the a lot of the ones in um Asia, but we also have the hijra in South Asia, which are particularly within like Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and they are there as spiritual guides and whatnot. And they're usually celebrate like birthdays, weddings. They have a more religious sense.
Hmm.
We also have Two Spirit. Sugar points out 2S, which a lot of the communities we also have expanded our acronym to include 2S, which is LGBTQIA 2S plus, because Two Spirit identities are from Indigenous North American. And actually, fun fact, Two Spirit is being adopted by other Indigenous folks, not just North American. We also have the Fa'afafini in Samoa and the Muxes in Mexico, who were from Oaxaca, and they are all gender nonconforming, third gender, non binary esque roles within societies, many of them playing leadership roles within the societies that they come from. And these traditions prove that queerness is not modern or even Western, but queerness itself is really ancient. And to kind of bring back that horror tie into everything, honestly, colonialism is more of a monster erasing what was natural and kind of replacing it with that fear and even the criminalization of queerness.
Oh yeah, I agree with you there. I just thought of one more too. That's spirit
Hmm.
culture. Kabuki theater.
Oh, the kabuki, Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Was was kabuki done traditionally by men?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. They had full on face makeup. Men wore played as women. I don't think he had like many female actresses in Kabuki. It was all men.
Hmm. That sounds very similar to traditional theater, where a lot of the men would play the female roles as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these are honestly a lot of different roles that are within our society that a lot of people kind of honestly overlook sometimes too.
Yeah, and that's sad.
Hmm.
Like it really is. I think
Honestly,
colonialism is a real monster.
yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, I do know that as well, Sugar. A
Yeah.
lot of that was because of sexism, predominantly for theater.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, crazy, crazy to me. They're like, no, you cannot play a woman. You are a woman. You must be woman. Like, what the like, huh?
Like I come with credentials.
It's literally like, about that. So bringing it all together, and I would like to ask, also, do you need to take a break? Do you want to go take like a drink of water, go to the bathroom, or anything like that before we continue? I realize we've been going for about hour 40, so I just want to make sure that you're all good and everything.
Oh, I'm good. I got my water right here.
Slay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving that. I just want to make sure, always want to make sure.
It's all good. Yeah,
So,
I appreciate that.
of course, of course. And thank you so much for the lurk, Sugar. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Please get some good food, okay? Why do you think horror has been so historically coded in queerness?
Horror has a history of being the other and whatever that other means in society of that time. Queerness is something that has always been integrated in society, but has always been kind of like the shadow overlooking. This is what like conservatives and homophobes think. Uh, a shadow overlooking their societal norms, and horror is
Mhm.
anything but the celebration of societal norms.
Mm-hmm.
And horror is just very expressive. Horror conveys a lot of feelings. It's not just the other, but it's the monster from within. It can be fun and playful like camp. It can be so many things.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree with what you just said, honestly. I feel like it's something that also, when we think about horror and we think about queerness and how they both really intertwine with one another, it really also comes really back to a lot of those different themes that we see within horror itself, right? Like that fear, the ambition of these monsters being alone, these monsters being seen as like unlovable, or you know having them be a true story about survival
Mm-hmm.
and branching from survival. If queer horror is often about survival, as we've talked about throughout this whole stream, and horror is also about survival, what do you think they teach us together?
They teach us that you don't have to be afraid of that monster within, or your queerness or your sexuality. Um, in some cases, society can be the real monster, honestly. Especially in
I
Stephen
love
King
that you
works.
said that.
But it also teaches you
Honestly.
that this part of you is not going to go away. Like, this is you, you know? You can either embrace that monster, embrace that horror, and be who you are, or try to run from it.
100%, 100%. Yeah, I completely understand that as well. I really like that you mentioned how like society, is probably one of the biggest monsters as well. Especially when talking about these different, views and whatnot when we go into it, because so many um some of these, different societal expectations and norms that we talk about, given that history is about survival, horror is about survival, we as a society, as queer people, have survived everything. They've
Mm-hmm.
tried to dispose of us numerous times throughout history. They've tried to other us numerous times throughout history. They've tried to put us in blames. They've tried to point fingers, and they've tried to basically insinuate that we are othered from humans. But we're here and we've survived, and we will keep surviving through colonization, through colonialism, through all of the fire and brim. Queer folks have been here, and we will continue to be here day in, day out.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Like, we're not going anywhere. So it's like people can either get used to it, or I guess have the cluster that's going on right now. I hate this timeline.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like, to not getting like religious or anything, or religious, political or anything, but
No.
like cheese and rice, man. Like, what is going on? So I only have a few more questions left for you, Yue. Crazy, we've gone
Ooh.
through so much. So one of our, I have about four more questions to ask you.
Mhm.
So are, what does queer reclamation of horror look like today?
I feel like it looks like if we want to talk about like fandom spaces, fans living out their truth, right? Being in a community, being in a place of belonging, having that strong connection with other people, because humans are social creatures. We need to have that connection. Like, nobody is their own separate island. But also, if we want to talk about like, the media aspect, it's showing more of the horrors of the queer experience, something that everybody can kind of latch on to, understand, and have a good time with.
Exactly, exactly. Going a little forward here, who are some queer creators who have shaped horror that you can think of?
Besides Mary Shelley, but she is the GOAT. Not just in queerness, but she is metal AF. One thing that you haven't touched on, this is kind of NSFW with her. Her and her husband had sex on her mother's dead mother's grave.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just popped in my head. I was like, oh wait, that's a fun fact.
I love that.
Bram Stoker has been said to be a little on the queer side. Of course, the director of Frankenstein, we touched on that earlier. Um,
We love James Whale,
we
yes.
do.
They
Um,
also Bride of Frankenstein too, which I think is kind of funny because like Bride of Frankenstein giving heavy drag.
she is fabulous.
Hmm.
There's also too the I can't remember his name offhand, but he is the director creator of Child's Play series. Like that whole series was meant to have like some kind of queer undertone.
Yes, yes. Don Mancini, Don
Yes.
Mancini,
Yep.
Chucky's creator. Yes, thank you so much for the popcorn, guys. I appreciate it. Don Mancini is definitely one. I know John Waters, has a lot of queer culture. Um, I want to say maybe there are some writers. I'm not like a huge horror reader, so I couldn't really tell you off the top. Um, but I do know the original the original writer of Nosferatu was
Hmm.
actually, I'm pretty sure, queer, or like what is it? Probably supposed to be queer, very queer undertones and
Yep.
whatnot. Though, I mean, obviously, it's been literally like probably a little over 100 years since Nosferatu was, put out into the world. But
Right.
yes, I know there are also another one. Um, for our final closing statement, what is one lesson queer history has taught you?
Well, I mean, I learned a lot of things tonight. One thing that queer history has taught me is that we've survived through so many things, and whatever's going on right now, we'll survive that too. Like I said earlier, it's not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. Queerness has always been integrated in society, either through folklore, mythology, movies, other forms of media. Like queerness is everywhere, even in nature.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm like, yes. Definitely, definitely. I want to thank you again, Yue, for being a guest here in the Cub Arcade, and for all of your amazing comments, and for you being able to come on to this interview with me. It's been an absolutely amazing time here with you. Are you going to continue streaming?
Probably not. It's 9 o'clock right now. I gotta make food.
So valid, so valid. Well, would you like to raid into somebody together?
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Do you have first of all, I'm gonna ask, do you have anyone you would like to raid into?
I don't think anybody is online for me.
That's a-okay. I always like to ask first, give our guests the choice. But I have a few folks on here. that are queer and like to talk about different things. So if you would like to, I think we can continue and raid. I have one of my fellow V Chunky members here. Their name is Yap Meg Yap. They
Okay.
are they're a Pomeranian VTuber.
Aw.
Queerness will keep evolving, period, Ghost. Exactly, exactly.
Agreed. Yep.
Here is a special raid message that I have for these little things. And then also I hope this is okay to share. These
Mm-hmm.
are some amazing LGBTQIA2S plus organizations and charities for anyone looking to donate this Pride Month slash LGBT History Month. For anyone who wants to, look into them, you're more than free to. Some of them are Lambda Legal, the GSA Network, the Pride Foundation, Trevor Project. Most importantly, one that is really, really popular right now is the Trans Lifeline. Um, Absolute lifesaver right now for all of our trans friends out there. And yeah, I'm gonna begin the raid to Meg. And then whenever you are ready, let me know and we can press and raid at the same time.
Absolutely. And thank you for inviting me.
Of course, of course. I love meeting new friends and having more folks on in these events.
Same. Yeah, this was
And once
really
you get to
fun.
meet people, so we can peak together.
Okay.
I'm glad you had fun. It was so nice seeing you. It was so nice chatting with you, and I loved watching you draw as well. That like YCH looks so cool.
Thank you. And, it's supposed to be I don't think he's in the chat right now, but I did a raffle a while ago and life got really crazy, so I couldn't do it really offhand. So I decided, okay, well, I don't really have anything ready to draw. I'll just do this. I gotta get this done.
Yeah. I love that for you. I feel that I'm like, oh, I got stuff to do, but I'm just like, my brain is not working right now. Let me just play some Genshin.
The hamsters that are trying to make thoughts happen, they're taking a break.
Literally, literally. All right, I am good to raid whenever you are.
All right.
Let's go. All right, pressing the raid button. There we go. Let's go. Yay.
I guess this could be real dumb, but what's your person's name?
Oh, I sent it to you on Discord.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did. Oh,
Mig. Yeah.
jeez.
You're all good.
There we go.
Slay.
We're getting there. The wheels are turning.
You're all good. You're all
All
good.
right.
Oh my god, it was so lovely chatting with you again. I hope to see you again soon, okay?
Me too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.